guys, welcome back to another episode of To Be Real. My name is Tiara. Sometimes I go by Charm, sometimes I go by Rain. It kind of depends on where I met you, but I'll respond to all three of them. So today we are doing part 3 of the series that started with how to know whether something that you are pursuing is either soul aligned or ego driven. Then we moved on to, if you have already decided this is soul aligned, how to know whether what is kind of stopping you from proceeding is either caused by a subconscious block or whether the universe is trying to redirect you into something else. And then finally, this episode is going to be around more specific subconscious blocks that might be getting in the way, how to work around them, and just some things that you need to take note of to make your journey and your process easier, because there's a lot of things that we put into the realm of what has to take place because that's all we've seen, because certain beliefs that we have make us believe it has to be that way. And so being aware of these things helps you get rid of the blocks, helps you get rid of the subconscious beliefs that are making you struggle a lot more than necessary. So with that being said, let's get right into the episode. Okay, so let me begin by telling you guys something that I learned very recently, and it made all the difference. I don't know if you guys can tell, but if you listen to any of my podcast episodes prior to the one that started, what was it? I think it was A Life Well Lived, or I don't even remember, but about 4 or 5 videos ago. There's a very stark difference between how that podcast played out in terms of how fluidly I was able to express myself versus all of my prior episodes that you can tell are pretty choppy. And that's because before I was literally stumbling over every single word. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. I would sit down and I would have planned and prepped and I knew exactly what I wanted to say and I had my notes and I'd practice and I would sit down and I would be able to get out like a sentence max, and then my mind would go blank and I just didn't know like how to do it. And so for a while I just kept going back and forth into thinking maybe I just need to go back and learn more. Maybe if I learn more, maybe this isn't my time yet. Maybe if I don't keep working on this and I do something else, someday I'll be able to come back and it'll just be easy and it'll just flow. And that was not the case. I mean, I have gotten significantly better. Like when I first started in 2021, I was having about 2 hours of footage and it was getting pieced together into about a 45-minute episode. And I was quite literally just like putting sound bites together to make the whole thing make sense. It was a lot of work. It taught me a lot. And I progressively got better to the point where I could have a full complete sentence and maybe 2 at some points. But for the most part, it was just such a mentally tolling process. Even when I wanted to be consistent, it was just so much. Like I would record one day and then it would take me like 5-6 hours to edit one video because there was so much to edit. I would have to move things around. I would have to piece bit by bit together. It was just so much. So what changed? I learned about this process, and Brianna Weiss talks about it in her book 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. I've mentioned it in just about every single episode that I've talked about because I'm about halfway through and she has absolutely changed the way I think. If you don't get anything else out of my podcast, please just gather this. You need to read Brianna Weiss 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think, because those essays will change the way you think. They changed the way I thought. They changed the way I was able to show up for my podcast. It just gave me so many things to think about. It was just phenomenal. It is 101 essays. All of the essays are between like 2 and max 4 pages. I read 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening. And so in 50 days, I'll have finished 101 essays and I'll have changed my way of thinking. And so far, so great. Anyways, in her book, she mentions the 3 stages of acquiring a new skill. And this isn't something that she made up. This is a scientific thing that, they put out. The 3 stages of acquiring a new skill are cognitive, associative, and autonomous. So cognitive is when you are first starting. Like you have to really think about the process the entire time. Like you're still learning, you're in the very beginning stages. Then there's the associative one. It's like you're not having to fully focus on the process anymore. The process comes a little bit more naturally to you. You're not necessarily learning the process, you're perfecting the process. And it's kind of the middle stage. You're not great, you're not just a beginner, you're kind of in the middle, and you're working your way to expert or master. And the final state is autonomous. Autonomous is when you don't have to think about it. It's just like in your bones, it's automatic to you. And most people get stuck between associative and autonomous and they give up. That was a huge thing for me. I hated that. I knew that I was capable of doing this. When I talk to people, I'm capable of expressing myself. The thoughts just come naturally. Sometimes I'm like not even thinking, the words just come out and I'm like I'll literally get goosebumps. I'm like, I know that was like Source speaking through me. So I couldn't figure out why when I would get in front of the camera, I would just get so shy. Like it was hard for me to imagine there was somebody sitting behind the camera or watching my videos. Like it didn't resonate with me. And I was like, I don't know, maybe I just should be like a public speaker. Maybe the online stuff isn't for me, but I've always had this desire to do YouTube, to podcast. And I just didn't understand why I couldn't bring what I knew were my talents and skills into this arena that I was genuinely interested in. I knew that this was soul aligned and I knew it was meant for me, but it never occurred to me that what was stopping me from moving from the associative stage to the autonomous stage was my subconscious blocks as well as my deep attachment to the outcome. I talk about manifestation in literally all of my episodes, and so this is our short intermission where we will include manifestation and the law of attraction and how that works in this episode. I won't apologize for it. Just expect it in every episode. And so let's talk about attachment and how that prevents you from receiving your manifestation. In my case, my manifestation was being able to talk in front of a camera without having to pause every 2 seconds to kind of recollect my thoughts and literally just lose my train of thought mid-sentence. Being deeply attached to the outcome is kind of you trying to really control this situation. And the thing is, there's a fly in my car. If you guys see a fly flying around, there's a fly in my car. Attachment to the outcome is preventing you from being able to allow the flow to go through you and allow things to come out smoothly. A lot of people have performance anxiety. And the reason for that is because even if it's something that you've practiced over and over and over and over, and you can do it in your sleep, the second you get to the moment of truth where you have to perform or you have to, do it in front of an audience or it's game time, you are so incredibly attached to how things will turn out and that you have to do this perfectly, that you move from your subconscious mind that knows how to do this. The process is like, it's ingrained in you. You move into your conscious mind so that you can be hyper aware and hyper focused on how you're going to do things. However, your conscious mind does not know the process. And so you stumble over it. The only way to allow yourself to actually do your best is to get out of your mind and trust your body. Trust that the work that you have put in, the practice that you have put in, trust that it's in you and that the version of you that is hitting the ball knows when to do it. It's instinctive. It's automatic. You have to trust that. And so again, the reason why people get caught up, why they get choked up is because they lose their capacity to connect to the stream of what is automatic to them, connect to the flow of what is already like within their bones, within their soul, because they're trying to control it. And your conscious mind does not know the process. It just is like looking aggressively, hyper vigilant on what you're doing, but it doesn't actually know how fast you have to hit it, how quickly you have to react. That's all your subconscious mind. Like people that play baseball, the only analogies that come to me are sports, but I don't play sports. And so bear with me. I've heard something like this before. There's so much science and physics that goes into playing golf or playing baseball. It's not just, hitting it. It's about your form. It's about your timing. It's about the angle. There's so much going into it. You have to calculate how fast the ball is moving towards you so that you hit it at the right time. Your conscious mind cannot process that. It can't process that and react in the amount of time that it would take for you to, hit the ball that's been pitched at you. Your subconscious mind, however, can. You've practiced, you just kind of know it feels right and you just act on it. When you're too attached to the outcome, your conscious mind takes over and blocks you from accessing what your body already knows how to do naturally. I was so attached to the outcome when it came to recording. I wanted every single word to be perfect. And another thing that would piss me off was that I felt like my content was devoid of my personality. It just pissed me off. Like, I feel like I would start and I would talk like this, and I just wanted it to be like soothing, and I just wanted it to be calming, and it was so annoying. It was so annoying to listen to. And I would play it on times too, and it would be like more sped up and it would feel more like me. But then I would put it on, normal speed, and I was talking like this. There was no life behind it was so bad. I hated it. Sorry, I'm sick, so I'm like sniffling a lot. And I just didn't know what to change. And I was like, it pissed me off because I had been doing this on and off for 2-3 years. And you can be like, oh, okay, well, you started on and off. For about a year straight, I did podcasts. I did a podcast with a co-host for, I think, 8 months. And then I had been doing my own podcast for about 3 months prior to that. And then I continued doing my solo podcast after. Like, I had amassed a good amount of experience. And so I was like, why am I not getting better? It has to be that I don't know enough. But no, I was too attached to the outcome. And so what my brain knows how to do naturally, talk, process, express myself, be confident, show my personality, what is natural to me in terms of speaking, teaching, thinking of analogies, was being suppressed by my conscious mind that was trying to control everything. And all that could come out, all that could, be expressed by me was control. And the more I tried to control the flow, the less access I had to it. And so releasing attachment, trusting in yourself. I talked about this in my episode that had to do with just be here now, presence, how you activate the flow and the stream of all that is good when you're present, how you allow yourself to build confidence and self-esteem when you don't try to get out ahead of yourself in the future, when you don't try to get out ahead of what could happen and you plan and prep and stress, when you trust that your future self knows how to deal with it. And if they don't know in the moment, they'll figure it out. That kind of energy allows you to be malleable. It doesn't put up blocks and resistance that would prevent you from acting in the best way possible when the time comes. And so releasing attachment to the outcome is huge. It's huge in terms of moving from the associative to autonomous, because if you've gotten to the associative part, you kind of know when you're like, I should be able to do this. Obviously, if you're going from cognitive to associative, you're kind of figuring out like what your natural ability is to do this, how much what your capacity to do this is. Like maybe if you're learning to draw, it's like, okay, like maybe I have like my own style, but I don't fully understand measurements and ratio, and maybe that's kind of what's off. And so you're building your skills. But once you're an associative and you're realizing like, I don't know, like something just is like blocking me. Like in my head, I have something that is so much better than what I'm capable of achieving. And you're practicing and you're practicing and you're practicing, and it just never quite gets there. That's you being too attached to the outcome, and you're not letting what naturally flows from you, what should be naturally flow from you, come out. Sometimes when I'm drawing or painting, my eyes literally just like shift. They shift aggressively and then they come back and I'm like, whoa, glad my hand didn't move. But I think that's part of me being so like conscious that my brush strokes need to be a specific way in order to come out perfect. Like if I'm too focused on the process, my mind literally is like, this is too much stress. Let me let go for a second and come back. And when I allow myself to just flow and not even really think about the process, just let it go, things come out better than I could imagine. I have a very hard time taking credit for what I create in terms of painting and sculpting and doing all that, because I feel like I am literally mentally not there when I'm doing it. And so when I'm done, I'm like, technically, yes, my physical body did it, but I don't know how I did it, and I probably can't repeat it, and I didn't actually do it because I don't know how I did it. But now, knowing this, I'm like, I did do it, but what I released was my conscious mind. I was letting my subconscious mind take over, the one that has practiced for over 10 years, the one that is naturally gifted, the one that, gets in the state of flow and that just feels so good when my hands are in the clay, when I am putting my favorite colors together. The crazy thing is that a lot of my mindset, especially when I'm painting, is just, I say, I'm going to keep moving, but God, you paint through me. I'll keep going. Even if I mess up, even if the colors don't make sense, even if it's just kind of looking funky in the beginning, I'll keep going, and then you paint through me. And what's really happening is I have completely let go of the outcome, and I'm letting my subconscious flow through me as I just allow the brushstrokes to move. And I think I'm just like letting the brushstrokes move in like random ways, but no. My subconscious mind that knows how to do this in the best way possible is effortlessly flowing through me. Every single time I make a weird mistake, I'm just like, fuck, I messed it up. Sorry, that's probably not great to listen to. Every time something really quote unquote bad happens when I'm creating something, it always, without fail, ends up being something that adds so much more texture, contrast, interest to the painting. And personally, I think it's because my eyes are looking at it, but it's not aware of what my subconscious mind is aware of. And my subconscious mind is like, well, I mean, if you're giving me full control, let's make this happen, because I know that once I cover it, or once I add shading, or once I do this and that, that's going to look even better. I'm letting flow through me. I'm letting source flow through me. I'm letting creativity flow through me. I'm not blocking it. I'm not resisting it. I'm present for the here and now, and I'm taking action. I'm not just like sitting there and I'm like, all right, do your thing, subconscious. You got it. No, I'm taking action, but I'm trusting my natural abilities, what is within my subconscious, my intuition. I'm letting creativity flow. And so that was another thing. Creativity. I never really had problems with creating episodes, not creating episodes, but coming up with episode ideas. It was more so I would come up with like 10 episode ideas at a time. And then when it came time to record the episode, I was kind of like, I'm just like not really inspired. Like, I don't really know what to say. And it just was not hitting. And I would have those moments of creativity, but I had a subconscious limiting belief about creativity that I was not aware of. I felt like I had to be in the mood in order to create. It had to like resonate in the moment for me to be able to tap in and create an episode around the titles and the topics that I had, made a list of. But here's another thing that I got from Brianna Weiss, 101 Essays That Would Change the Way You Think. And it changed the way I thought about creativity. She said, and I'm paraphrasing, creativity is not something that you get good at or that you have to try to do. Creativity is something that you are always, at every moment, expressing. Creativity naturally flows to you from the way that you speak, from the way that you choose to dress, from the way that whatever, everything that has to do with interacting that is solely yours has to do with creativity. Creativity is constantly ever present and flowing through you. We're creative beings. I am such a huge advocate of, if you are depressed, it's probably because you're not creating anything. Whether you're an artist, whether you're, into math or science, your mind wants to create. We are creators. We create our lives. We have goals. Like, everything about us just wants to create. And so creativity is a natural thing that is constantly flowing to you. And when you block that, and when you're not allowing it to flow into a creation, that energy gets stagnant in you and it rots and dies within you. I remember in college, they had us read something where it was like, where do ideas go to die? Or something like that. Like, if you don't act on your idea, like, where does it go? Where does it go to die? I personally think ideas are just kind of like a cloud in the atmosphere, and, whoever uses it first, whoever acts on it first, the idea goes to them great. That's why you'll like think about something and it's like the best idea ever. And then maybe like a year or two later, you see it somewhere and you're like, that was my idea. I literally thought about 2 years ago. That happens to my little brother all the time. Like there's been like 3 or 4 things that he, as a child, was like, wait, that would be so cool. And now as an adult, he's like, remember when I said this was such a good idea? And now it's like a real thing. It's because we have like access to a collective, I want to say cloud, kind of like the iCloud. It's just like there. It's just like the internet or Wi-Fi. I don't know how any of that works, but we all have access to it. But it's whoever takes action on it first. I've heard that Michael Jackson would get up like in the middle of the night and be like, I have to record the song right now. And his producer would be like, it's midnight. I'm like, what's going on? He's like, no. If I don't make this song right now, it's going to go to Prince. And it's because he was aware of this fact that ideas aren't singularly, they don't belong to anybody. They belong to the person that takes action on them. And so if creativity and ideas are just things that are ever present, everywhere, all around you, then it's not something that you have to work to get good at. It's something that you have to allow to flow through you. But if your belief is that, if your subconscious belief is that, well, I'm just not creative, then you are closing your access to that flow of creativity because your mind is going to execute that code of, I'm not creative, and create situations in which that code can be proven to you, can be acted out. You say to yourself, I'm not creative. So you sit down to record the podcast episode and the ideas just aren't flowing to you because your subconscious mind has to prove to itself, I'm not creative. I'm not creative. I'm not creative. It refuses to be wrong because if your subconscious is wrong and your ego is wrong, you are shaking something that is foundational and fundamental to its belief, to its core, to its truths. And so in terms of confirmation bias, your subconscious will do everything in its power to make sure that whoever is experiencing confirms its bias. It is the master of confirmation bias. It's all it does. And it's to protect your sense of safety and security. However, just because your subconscious believes it doesn't mean it's true. Any belief that your subconscious holds is just something that you have repeated to yourself often enough to the point where it's programmed within you. The first, I think, 7 years of your life, your mind is in a state of, insert state of brainwave that your brain is in. I think it's theta. And that is where the waves are super slow and you are in a state of hypnosis. You're not challenging anything that comes your way. You're just accepting it all as true. And that's why the majority of your limiting beliefs are created within you when you're a child, because this is the first time you have experienced the world. And so your mind is like, let me learn everything that I need to learn so that I can protect myself in the best way possible to keep myself safe. When I was a baby, I had a nanny that would leave me locked in the room while she was supposed to be taking care of me, and I would just cry all day long in the dark. And this isn't something that I was aware of, but when I was working with my spiritual therapist, she had me go back and relive this memory consciously. And with the mind of an adult, I was able to realize the subconscious limiting beliefs that I created as a result of that experience. I'm unloved. I have to deal with everything by myself. No one is ever going to be there for me, especially not the people that I need the most. I am not worthy of love, of being taken care of. And so my whole life, I have been acting out these beliefs. As an adult, I could revisit that and change the memory. Be for my child self everything that she wanted. And she just wanted to be held. She just wanted to be remembered. And so I changed that memory, but I was also able to give my mind a different perspective. My nanny was not shit. I think the day that my parents fired her, I don't know if this was the same girl, but my mom ended up being a stay-at-home mom, and it was because of the nannies that we had. My dad said that one day, I think my mom came home early from work, and the nanny that was supposed to be taking care of me and my 3-year-old sister at the time, who's 2 years older than me, was heading out of the house. And she's like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm on my way to go buy cigarettes. She was just going to leave my 3-year-old sister and my 1-year-old self alone in the house as she went to go buy cigarettes. And when my parents told me this, I was like, why would she tell the truth about that? Why would she not just lie and be like, we ran out of formula and diapers. I'm on my way to get that. I'm on my way to get cigarettes? Obviously, she was fired on the spot. My mom became a stay-at-home mom. She forgo being a career woman. My mom has a degree in chemical engineering, and she made the sacrifice to be a stay-at-home mom because people are terrifying and you cannot trust them to take care of your children. Anyways, my point is, when you are younger, you create all of these limiting beliefs around what is possible, what you deserve, what you are capable of. And so as an adult, as you're trying to achieve these different things and things are just not flowing and you're doing your best and you're showing up and you're trying to let go of resistance, but things are just not moving. You're stuck, or every time that you start, you stop, or every time that you start, you get burnt out and you have to stop. You can't be consistent. It's hard for you to show up. What you produce is dissatisfying to you, and so it makes you sad and makes you want to quit. These are all typically things that come as a result of a subconscious block. And until you can release these blocks, you will not allow the flow to course through you unencumbered, without obstruction. So let's talk about some of the main blocks that you'll see. Fear of failure, fear of success. These two things are not the same. In the last episode, or in one of my episodes, I talked to you guys about how my little brother does so much because basically he has a fear of failure. That is his driving force. He feels like if he's not doing anything, then he's wasting his life and it's worthless. He just feels stressed and anxious when he's not doing anything. He has a fear of failure. And so he's constantly striving for more. I have a fear of success. I'm terrified of what it will mean for me to be successful. How will I have to show up? Am I going to have to record every single day? Is it going to take up all of my time? Am I going to be so burnt out because I'm doing so much and I have to keep the ball rolling? And is it going to be too much? Am I not going to know how to handle, having all these eyes on me? I'm a very introverted person. I'm very good in social situations, and externally, if you saw me in a group of people, you would never guess that I'm introverted, but I can put on that show and it feels natural and normal in the moment, but I have about 3 hours and then I have to take some time to myself because I need to recharge. I can go out maximum once or twice a month. The rest of the time, I just can't, I need that time to myself. I feel really overstimulated and I get thrown really off balance energetically when I spend a lot of time with people. I'm also a people pleaser, and therefore I feel like I have to perform. I have to be the one to entertain. I have to be the one that, keeps the conversation flowing, and that is draining to me. And so the fear of that kind of keeps me in my own shell, kind of makes me stay to myself. And so nothing in my life was allowing me to move towards success, at least in terms of podcasting and doing social media. As much as I would try, I'd start and stop, or I'd start and get really burnt out and have to stop. My fear of success was not allowing me to show up in a consistent way. My mind was terrified of what would happen to me if I was successful. My little brother, on the other hand, his subconscious mind is terrified of what will happen to him, or what will it mean about me if I fail. Another one, belief that things have to be hard, belief that you have to earn things, belief that you have to struggle in order to achieve something. That's one that I definitely struggle with. I feel like unless I work super hard for something, then it didn't matter. It wasn't actually a big deal. I take for granted the skills, the gift, the natural ability that I have, because I'm I didn't earn it. In terms of art, it's I don't know, I did practice, but I do have a natural eye for art. I do have the dexterity to be able to be good at that. I do have a natural sense of different color palettes and what works well in harmony. And so to me, I just it's just not even that deep. I always say it's not something that I'm passionate about. It's just something that I can do. And so to me, it was worthless. I didn't have to really work that hard for it. Graduating with an English degree. A lot of people view graduating with any kind of college degree as a really big accomplishment. And for me, it was just kind of yeah, but it was literally so easy. It doesn't even matter. It was a fake degree. What can I even do with an English degree? It was easy because I love writing. I've been reading my whole life. I'm a speaker. I have a great vocabulary, but it is something that deserves my acknowledgement of an actual achievement. I put in a lot of time, energy, and effort to pass my classes. I did. I didn't graduate with a super high GPA. I graduated with like a 3.5 overall. But in terms of my field, which was English, I graduated with a 3.95. That's not nothing. To me, it's nothing because it was easy, because I have this limiting belief that I have to struggle. I have to struggle for anything. If I don't struggle, it's worthless. And if there is any kind of opportunity to struggle, I amplify that struggling because it makes me feel like I've earned this. Now I deserve this. You are inherently worthy of anything you can dream of or desire. It all naturally belongs to you. There is nothing in this world that is off limits to you. If you can dream it, you can create it. However, a lot of times this belief that we have to earn things and struggle for things prevents us from receiving what is meant for us. When you have that mindset, you are so focused on the how. What am I going to do? How can I do it? And you don't allow people to help you. No, I have to do this all by myself. And you make the process harder. There's a lot of people that could help you. And nobody has ever done anything by themselves. Everybody has received the help of somebody. And the natural flow of life is give and take, give and take, give and take, offer and receive. And if you refuse to extend your hands out to receive, one, your cup will always be empty because you will only be giving out that energy and you won't be refilling your cup. And two, you will block yourself from benefiting from all the things that are meant for you to receive, are meant to aid you on your journey towards the thing that you want to accomplish. Things are allowed to be easy. Things are allowed to flow. And I talked about this before in terms of trusting your present self to know what to do in the moment. When I started practicing that, things would just come out better than I could have ever expected. And at first I was like, I just started being given things that were easier to deal with. And then I thought about it and I was like, or maybe not. Maybe I just became the type of person that dealt with things to the best of their ability because I had no blockages. I wasn't overthinking it. So I was allowing the flow to flow through me. And now I'm somebody that can deal with difficult things in the moment to the best of my abilities. Me podcasting all of a sudden, I haven't been practicing podcasting since my last episode. I think about it and I dream of it and I make episode ideas and I prep for my episodes and I make outlines, but I haven't sat down in front of a camera and talked since February, March. It's now September, the middle of September. There's no reason that I should all of a sudden be able to have a very fluid stream of thought and I can talk to the camera and I can look at the camera and things just flow effortlessly and naturally. There's no way that without any kind of practice, I jumped from associative to autonomous, the associative stage to the autonomous stage, basically overnight. Quite literally, basically overnight. I came back from my sister's house and I was like, I'm going to, try to do this for a year to prove to myself that getting my master's is something that is worthy of investing in. But first I have to know that I can even do this, that I enjoy doing this, that I'm capable of doing this. I've never been consistent. I sat down and I recorded like it was nothing. Before, I had the mental capacity to record like max 3 times a week. And that was like really pushing it. And I would be so drained. My mind was working overtime. It was so exhausting to have to think so consciously of what I was going to say and how to make it make sense and just being super critical when I had to, edit. It was just so much work. And of course, my subconscious mind was like, if this is what it takes to be successful, I don't want it because it's already stressful for me when low-key nobody's listening to my podcast. Like I'm not getting paid for it. It's not my full-time job. If this is what it feels like well before I'm successful, I'm good on that. I'm going to put up every single block possible. Okay, my battery overheated, so I kind of need to start wrapping it up because it's getting really hot and my camera is not able to keep up. But yeah, in this last week, I recorded 4 videos, one every single day, effortlessly. And I was trying to record every single day, but just as a personal challenge to myself, but I was really sick yesterday. And so I just took the day off and I was like, oh my gosh, let me see if I can record 2 episodes in a day today. Can I do it? And I was like, yeah, Yes, I fucking can. You know why? Because that's my new belief about myself. This is effortless and easy. And why? Why do I all of a sudden trust that? Because I have decided to trust myself. I have decided that I know how to do this. It's in me. I'm capable of this. I have been given all of the gifts, talents, everything that I could need in order to be great at this. And the only thing that was ever stopping myself was me trying to control it. And so I let things happen. I do my part. I write out what I want to say, not write out what I want to say, but I create an outline for the main points that I want to hit, but I don't plan out how it's going to come out. I feel like my camera's not straight. I don't try to plan it out. I'm like, when the future version of me reaches that moment, the words will come out. And they do. And they do. I don't really go looking for ideas or topic ideas. I'm just like, okay, I don't have an episode idea for tomorrow yet, but it'll come to me. I'm not forcing it. I'm not trying to think of it. I'm not racking my brain for it. I'll like try and think of a couple ideas before I go to sleep just to let my mind know, hey, I'm putting in my request. Like, yeah, I'd like an episode and I want it to be fun. I want it to be something that I can kind of laugh at and it's just like fun and, it has some good moments. Then the ideas come to me. That 3-part series, it just came to me randomly. A 3-part series? Please be so for real. I've never thought of a 3-part series. Like, what? And the times that I didn't follow through because I just couldn't. Like, either I lost inspiration or something would happen that would prevent me from like really following through. Last night, I had an idea for my next 2 episodes and they're kind of, part of a series as well. The way I'm showing up is totally different and effortless this time around. And it's because I've let go. I've set my goals. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to accomplish in terms of the things that I have control over, how much I create, the amount that I push myself. But in terms of the doing, I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go and I'm letting it flow. So we've covered a couple things: fear of failure, fear of success, a belief that things have to be hard and you have to suffer to earn it, creativity is something that you have to get good at when it's always flowing, attachment to the outcome, how it's creating resistance and not allowing things to flow and making you struggle in the time when it matters most. When you sit down to record, when it's game day, when you are taking a test. Test anxiety, it's the worst. It's the worst. And I feel so bad for people that struggle with it because it's so unfair. Tests are an awful way to gauge whether someone really knows something because a lot of people study really, really, really hard. And when it comes down to the moment, they're full of anxiety because there's so much pressure to get every question right. They got every single question right in the practice test because there was no attachment to the outcome. I'm still practicing. Okay, if I get a couple wrong, I can retake the test until I reach the correct amount that I want to reach. But when it comes to the test, now there's a lot of pressure. I can't get a single one wrong. Their conscious mind takes over. And what they know, what they've been practicing and they know that they know, gone. Out the window. They freeze. Attachment to the outcome creates resistance. It blocks everything that you know you are capable of. So this was the final part of our 3-part series, figuring out whether what you are trying to pursue is ego-driven or soul-aligned. Figuring out whether the reason why what you decided is soul-aligned is just not really progressing in the way that you had hoped because you have subconscious blocks around it or because you're being redirected. Oh my God, it's so hot. I'm literally about to die in my car. I'm like roasting alive. Finally, figuring out what specific subconscious beliefs might be blocking you from moving from the associative stage into the autonomous stage. Brianna Weiss talked about the associative stage and that the best thing you could possibly do is just keep doing it. Do it as much as possible because once it becomes embedded into your subconscious, you can move into the autonomous stage. When it came to recording, I was doing the exact opposite. I was in the associative stage. I was stuck there. And so I would take a step back. And when I talked to my sister and she was like, no, you need to create for a year and show yourself that this is something that you can even do and something that you would enjoy doing. This was when I was debating on whether to pursue my master's or not as, a way to prevent myself from having to face something that I felt like wasn't moving in the direction that I wanted it to move in. I was like, okay, I'm going to focus on my master's and maybe once I've studied that for 2 years, I'll be able to come back and I'll just magically be able to talk and everything will be better. And she was like, I don't think it's wise for you to get yourself into $40,000 of debt in order to pursue a master's in something that you are not even sure is like for sure what you want to do because you've never been consistent in trying it. Valid. So valid. She was like, how about you do this for a year? Or not even just a year. How about you pursue this and you get good at this and you create a huge block of content, and then as an investment into your career, you get that degree. Thank God I have my sister, because that was something that I never considered. And I was like, you're right. You're right. I need to go home and I just need to practice. I just need to do as much as I can. I didn't know about the associative block and the autonomous stage yet, or the associative stage and the autonomous stage yet. But I was like, you're right. I just need to keep doing as much as I can. And so I came back home and I was like, let's do it. Right? And the first day, I was trying to plan it in my head, but I've been practicing getting present. I talked about this in the first episode where I was talking about getting towed and how it made me realize how valuable it is to just deal with reality as reality hits you. Not trying to, get out ahead into the future and plan for everything and worrying and all this stuff, just being here. I was like, I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to trust that things are going to come to me. I'll be present for what I'm doing. And I sat down and I recorded an episode and I was like, oh my God, I did it. Oh my God, I did it. And the next day I was like, let me try again. Like, can I repeat it? And I did it again. And the next day I was like, let's do it again. Let me just be present. Like, I found out that the secret to being able to consistently do this was to just be present in the moment, not be in my head, not be trying to force it, not trying to plan it and, rehearse my script and my podcast in my head the entire night before. Because then I have something to compare it to. And I'm like, oh, I should have said that. Oh, why didn't I say that? Oh, I should have said it this way. I didn't. I let the flow take over in the moment. I trusted my capacity and my ability. And I trusted the fact that I know that this is something that's meant for me. I trusted the fact that, yes, God, the universe, whoever is going to help me because it wants me to succeed. Because I want this with my whole heart. And I've decided that this is something that's soul aligned. And I've worked on the subconscious blocks that were preventing me from moving on. And finally, it was about realizing that I just need to be present. Trust the moment. Trust the version of you that is in the moment and let things flow. Let things flow. Anyways, that is the episode for today. Thank you for listening. You got this. I believe in you. Your higher self believes in you. Everything that you desire is out there. You just have to match the frequency of it. It's out there and it's trying to get to you as fast as possible. Everything that you desire desires you back. You just have to allow yourself to be transformed into the version of you that can hold that reality. You got this. Trust a little bit more in yourself. Just if you're going to bet on anybody, bet on yourself. That is all for today. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you in the next episode. Love you. Bye.